My wife had a crush on her first love for 5 years. The day before our wedding at her bachelorette party, they hugged. They said it was to leave no regrets from their youth. I immediately called off the wedding. She was confused, crying, asking it was just dinner. Why are you like this? I said, if your youth is so unforgettable, then I wish you two a happy life together. You're free now. The wedding was tomorrow, and I repeatedly confirmed the details. All the petals should be roses. No lilies or bellflowers because Lucy is allergic to them. The custom high heels should have spare insoles in the car. Lucy has to stand for hours greeting guests, and I worry her feet will hurt. Are the cupcakes ready? I heard brides barely eat on their wedding day, so I want her to have a snack while doing her makeup. Is it dairy-based cream? Vegetable cream is hard to digest. I received affirmative replies, and I breathed a heavy sigh of relief. I closed the door and lay down on the bed, listening to the laughter outside, feeling both excited and nervous. I'm getting married tomorrow. What's Lucy up to right now? I took out my phone and messaged her. She didn't reply, but while browsing Twitter, I saw her best friend had posted a set of selfies. She was celebrating her friend's last night of freedom before the big day tomorrow, making sure there were no regrets about their youth. The first 8 photos were Lucy having fun with her crew, and I chuckled, thinking that if she stayed up playing all night, she might not even be awake when I carry her out tomorrow. Then I swiped to the last picture, and everything went black. It was like a sledgehammer hit the back of my head. Took me a while to catch my breath. It was a close-up photo of a guy and Lucy. Lucy leaned back with one hand on the table, her eyes dreamy, lips slightly parted. The guy's profile was just inches away, staring deeply into her eyes. They were breathing each other's air, their lips barely an inch apart. The guy's hands were tightly wrapped around Lucy's waist, under a sultry red light that painted it all in a very suggestive hue. It looked like the promo poster for some cheesy urban love drama. I didn't know this guy, but I knew who he was. Frank, Lucy's crush from high school and college. We had previously been open about our past relationships. Lucy had mentioned she had a senior she liked for a long time, but was vague about the details. It didn't bother me. I figured it was just a schoolgirl crush. What's a first love, anyway, when I'm the one by your side now? That photo was like a bullet to my chest, twisting my heart with pain. Lucy's face slowly distorted in my mind. I felt a sharp pain in my palm, realizing the metal phone case had somehow cut into my skin. I snapped out of it and checked that Twitter post again, but it had already been deleted. Quickly called Lucy. No answer. I tried her friend, who picked up hesitantly. Where are you all? I cut to the chase. At a meal, she said reluctantly, clearly guilty. Why do you ask? Give me the address, I said. Is that guy still there? Silence. I heard Lucy's voice in the background say, Your turn? Who are you talking to? Work stuff, her friend whispered. Gotta go, my phone's dying. I'll give you $1,000, I offered. What do you take me for? She retorted indignantly. Make it $3,000 and give me all that guy's info. Just don't say I said anything, I agreed. Before long, my phone was pinging like crazy. Among the messages was Lucy's alt account. I checked the homepage and found she had been updating it regularly. Every little thing she did, from what she ate to where she traveled to what she read, was there. Under each post, Frank had left comments. Lucy posted, It's cold. Let's knit a scarf for someone we love. Frank replied, Already got the scarf, but she's home, so I can't pick it up. Lucy said, Humph, if you don't want it, just forget it. That was a blue scarf Lucy gave me for my birthday last year, claiming it took 2 months to make. I was so touched. I fished out the scarf and saw, next to my name, the unfinished stitches. So it was only because Frank didn't want it. Lucy had also written, Went to the temple to make a wish. Bless me, Buddha. Frank replied, What did you wish for? Tell me. Lucy teased, For what you want most. Frank guessed, To see stars in the Sahara Desert? Clever. You get a kiss as a reward, Lucy replied. I remembered our 3rd anniversary at the temple hanging our wishes. Mine said, I will love the girl beside me properly, and hope the deities witness it. Hers said, to see the Sahara Desert stars with my love. She always brushed me off when I invited her, claiming fatigue. Turns out it wasn't that she didn't want to. It was just that I wasn't the one she wanted it with, right? On Valentine's Day 2021, I was stuck at a hotel due to the pandemic, unable to celebrate the day with Lucy. She was upset for a while, and it took me a week to comfort her. Yet on that day, I found a post of hers. A selfie kissing Frank in my bedroom, captioned, "Love is never without recklessness." Facebook notified me of updates. When I refreshed, Lucy had posted a photo hugging Frank, captioned, "Bidding farewell to the stars of my youth." Frank commented, "Hope he treats you well." On Lucy's main account, everything was still a picture of a peaceful life with our wedding photos displayed. Furious and shaking, I wanted to strangle those cheating bastards. Lucy finally thought of me, her actual husband, and sent a lazy voice message feigning sleepiness. I just nodded off. I shuddered to think how many times she'd lied to me like this. I said, "I want to discuss something." She replied, "What?" "An old flame heard about our wedding and wants to meet for dinner." "Just dinner, no big deal, half an hour. Catch up. Then I'd come home." "Go ahead. If you dare, do it. But don't bother coming back." Her voice rose hysterically. "If you go today, tomorrow I'm filing for divorce. This is over. Go find your first love. So you do know it's wrong. But why is it okay for you then?" I texted back, "Got it. I won't go. What about you? If your first love calls, would you meet them?" After a long pause, Lucy finally said, "What are you talking about?" "Of course not. We haven't seen each other for years. I can barely remember what he looks like." "Really? Even someone you think about day and night? How about I help you remember? Couldn't find you anywhere. Turns out you're hiding here." Tom pushed the door open. "Come on. Everyone's waiting on you for dinner, Mr. Groom." I looked up, just about to tell him to go ahead without me. Then I saw his expression change dramatically. "Damn. What's wrong with you? Your eyes are so red." I opened my phone and saw my face flushed, veins bulging on my forehead. "I'm not going," I said, voice shaky and unsteady. I couldn't control myself. The guys were drawn by Tom's voice and gathered around to ask what was happening. I waved them off. "Let me be for a bit. Just tell them I fell asleep. Don't let my parents know." Everyone there knew me well enough since we were kids to understand my mood. They listened and did as told. The moment the door closed, the overwhelming sorrow nearly drowned me. My heart ached like it was being ripped apart. Scenes from the past flashed through my mind like a movie. "Turns out you were just playing along with me the whole time. My trust was just a toy to you. When we were in love, there was always someone else's shadow lurking." I laid there like a zombie for what felt like forever. Finally, as the dawn began to break, I regained some strength. The wedding photo on the bedside reminded me today was supposed to be my big day. The red stung my eyes. I slapped the frame away, got out of bed, and headed to the bathroom. As soon as I opened the door, I saw them huddled nearby. They hadn't slept, keeping watch. Seeing me, they all looked concerned. "Jason, what's going on? Just tell us." One friend cautiously asked. "We've been through everything together. Whatever it is, we'll handle it together." "Yeah, is it money?" Another friend, Joshua, said. "How much do you need?" "I have a couple grand saved up for a new graphics card." "You need it, you got it." Touched by their sincerity, I couldn't speak. I handed them my phone. "Check it out yourselves." 10 minutes later, they all exchanged looks. "So, what are you gonna do?" Some say try to mend it, others say split up. Before, whenever Lucy and I had issues, they'd always suggest being more understanding with her. But now they probably wanted to say split and yet worried about hurt feelings. So instead, they asked what I thought. "What do you think?" I sneered, grabbed a beer from the fridge, and downed it. The cold liquid coursed through me and cleared my head. "Of course, I'm gonna deal with them. Yeah, let's crush that cheating couple." My friend stood up immediately. So shameless. It was 5 a.m. Less than an hour to my wedding. Plenty of time to get things done. I downloaded all the videos, edited them, informed the hotel to change the schedule, hired a few local influencers for a live broadcast. A little hitch happened along the way. Lucy's parents called asking me to bring more gifts. They had tons of relatives ready to block the way without enough gifts. Trying to save face, they bragged about my wealth. The cheap marriage games went unmentioned. When Lucy and I were greeting guests at the hotel, it was already crowded. As she grumbled about sore feet and no food all day, I said, "Can't you bear it?" She was stunned. Maybe because I'd never spoken to her like that. Her eyes welled up, and she clung to me, asking what I meant. I shook her hand off and saw Frank approaching. With a fake smile on his face, he raised an eyebrow. Lucy gave him a pitiful look, as if to say I was the problem. I silently watched their exchange. "Lucy, you look beautiful today." Frank bent down to hug Lucy, pretending to keep his hand off her shoulder, but slyly pinched her thigh under her dress. Lucy replied, "Long time no see," and gave him a playful glare. How shameless. Flirting at a time like this. I pretended not to know, checked my phone. A buddy messaged that Frank's fiancée and boss were en route. This Frank guy, always sponging off others, got his job thanks to his fiancée's father. And now that father was bringing a gang to break Frank's legs. My friends said there was drama ahead. Lucy mentioned you before. Handsome, as she said. Frank offered me a handshake with a smile. I shook his hand. "Who's this?" Lucy, embarrassed, said, "The senior I told you about before. You don't mind, right?" I acted like I just remembered. "What's on your mind, Lucy? A man wouldn't mind such things, right? You just liked me back then, just childish play," Frank said. "Jason wouldn't mind at all, right?" I smiled while holding his hand. Of course not. The loud music poured down, and the chandeliers sparkled. I stood on stage like a puppet, blankly watching the crowd. "And now, let's welcome the bride." The MC's voice was nearly deafening. The doors swung open. Amid applause, Lucy, in her wedding dress, slowly walked onto the stage. This was the part where her father would place her hand in mine, a symbol of lifelong trust. What trust? I thought. They're treating me like a trash can for their leftovers. "Today, I'm very happy you all could attend my daughter's wedding," her dad began, holding Lucy's hand. "Since she was little, I've always taught her, grades don't matter as much as good character." "Heard you're strict?" The MC interrupted. Of course, her dad boasted, giving a thumbs up. "On character, my Lucy is top-notch." You could tell he was proud of her. "Now, sir, please place your daughter's hand into the hands of her true love," the MC said. "Jason," her father said, "you two must live well together." Lucy looked at me with tears in her eyes, moved by the moment. This was the moment we once dreamed of. I even said back then, what if I couldn't hold back my tears? She promised to tease me forever if I did. "Lucy, I won't cry now. Not even sure I feel anything looking at you." As her palm was about to meet mine, the atmosphere shifted. The lights all went out suddenly. Amid gasps and whispers, a giant screen took over, playing the surprise I had planned. It was footage from the bachelor party. Under the red lights, a tipsy Lucy could barely stand, wrapping her arms around Frank's neck, sharing a passionate kiss. The crowd was cheering them on, chanting, "Kiss, kiss. Lucy, you're so brave. That's true love for ya." After a long time, they finally pulled apart. Lucy looked into the camera, her eyes glazed over with a drunken haze. She raised her drink and shouted, "To youth." The crowd echoed, "To youth." In stark contrast to the noisy video, the room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. I stood aside, grinning at the scene unfolding. Lucy's face turned pale, her lips quivered, and she trembled head to toe. Modern folks have this messed up logic. If you get cheated on, it's 'cause you're not enough or you're not charming, so you deserve the ridicule. It's like blaming you for not hiding your money when someone steals it, instead of blaming the thief. But I don't buy into that. I didn't betray love. I wasn't unfaithful to my partner. My only mistake was trusting the wrong person. I'm the victim here. I'm not afraid of people knowing. I'm even worried too few know about it. Turn it off. Lucy finally managed a full sentence. No one paid her any mind. She looked at me, tears rolling down her face. "Please turn it off. Okay?" Two of Frank's childhood buddies dragged him on stage. I stepped aside, leaving space for them next to Lucy. To youth, I raised my champagne. To youth, 7 or 8 buddies enthusiastically echoed. To love, I and the Lucy in the video said in unison. To love, the groomsmen group erupted, wishing them a happy life together. I added, a happy life together. The brothers popped open their bottles. Yellow liquid flowed all over them. Is this the daughter you raised? The MC chuckled. Not even married and already messing around with another man. Truly upbringing. That hit like a splash of sizzling oil in a hot pan, setting off a frenzy. People started gossiping. My father-in-law finally reacted, slapping Lucy across the face. You shameless thing. Lucy clutched her cheek, eyes red, head hung low, not daring to utter a word. He quickly strode to my side and whispered, Jason, we did you wrong. But with all these people watching, could you? His whisper was interrupted by a commotion of hurried footsteps. You lying jerk. Still saying you're working late. A piercing female voice filled the room before she even arrived. A crowd of big guys stormed in, led by a tall girl. Frank's face dropped immediately. How did she get here? I invited your wife, I said, straightening his collar. Surely, as a man, you don't mind, do you? Frank's smile looked more like a grimace. No sooner had I finished speaking than a high heel hit him square on the forehead, followed by a slap. You scumbag, living off me and still dared to cheat? His wife glanced at Lucy. You chose this piece of trash? Now, Lucy's makeup was smeared from crying, black mascara streaks staining her face. Not exactly her best look. Home-wrecking bimbo. His wife raised her hand, ready to slap Lucy, but suddenly turned to seek my approval with her eyes. I tore off the groom's boutonniere and made a gesture granting her the go-ahead, then hopped off the stage. So, she didn't hold back. A crisp, resonant slap echoed. Divorce. She tossed this word over her shoulder and walked away. Frank panicked, kneeling to cling to his wife's leg. Please, I'm sorry, we can't break up. Let go of me. She kicked at his head, but Frank wouldn't let go. After all this, you think I'd stay with you? It's all her fault. Frank pointed at Lucy, cursing. This vile woman tricked me. I was momentarily blind. Lucy stood frozen on the stage, her expression vacant. My father-in-law had disappeared at some point. Relatives pointed fingers at her from the audience. A bunch of small-time influencers gathered, shoving their phones in her face for a close-up. Y'all, this is the chick. Now not even her side piece wants her. Lucy shuddered ever so slightly. I was a jumble of emotions. Whenever she shed a single tear before, my heart would ache for her. But now, what does that matter to me? I downed the leftover champagne in one go. Pouring myself more, I caught Lucy's gaze. Frank was pulling her, asking his wife to explain. Come on. Admit it was you who tempted me first. Lucy stayed silent, her head forced down into a bowing position by Frank. In that moment, she looked at me, eyes full of imploring sorrow, seeming to seek my rescue. I lifted my glass to her from afar. To youth, what happened next is a blur because 7 or 8 men dragged Frank to their car. His father-in-law swore he wouldn't stop until he beat the crap out of him. Literally. Lucy ran home in tears, her dress shredded like ribbons. In our small town, today was a piece of major gossip everyone would soon know. For at least a few years, Lucy would top the local matchmaker's blacklist. I looked at the mess all around, exhaled deeply. With my buddies, found a quiet joint to keep drinking. Today's drama was a rush. Hadn't felt this alive in ages. Right, man, we haven't had a dust-up in years. During the chaos, I managed to land a few kicks on that guy too. Seeing him cower in front of his wife, I don't get what Lucy saw in him. The lively mood took a pause. A few buddies yanked Tom's arm, silently hinting at him not to mention my heartbreak. But Tom was a bit too far gone on booze, slurring, getting more into it. Our Jason's got way more on this pretty boy. Good looks, a solid career, plus he treats a lady right. How'd her head get so twisted? Someone next to Tom stuffed a drink in his face to shut him up. All right, spare us a bit. Don't need you blabbering on. Tom got all riled up. What, I'm wrong? Our Jason always had the gals liking him back from school days. What women? I wondered, like Rachel, remember? Been sweet on ya forever. Rachel? I pictured a short-haired, pretty girl instantly, total nonsense. She was just my best bud. Rachel and I go way back, classmates from elementary through high school in the same grade. Though a girl, she was cool, boisterous, not a girly girl, so she hung out with us well. Skipping classes, playing ball, or hitting the internet cafe, she'd join in any time. So what Tom claimed was pure fantasy. We were always friends, nothing more. The only slight deviation was back in high school. One night, she texted me saying she was home alone and scared because her parents weren't there. I was like, don't be such a drama queen. You can down a whole bottle of booze and you're scared of ghosts now? She said she was just scared. I was waiting for the new Dragon Ball episode, only an hour left till Goku took on Piccolo. Couldn't be bothered. So I told her, if you're scared, knock back a couple of shots and sleep it off. She asked, Jason, do you ever see me as a girl? And then she hung up. She sounded kinda pissed. I felt she might really be scared. I hurried downstairs, hopped on my bike, and dashed to her place. Rode for a solid half hour, got to her grandma's, woke her up, and brought her along. Don't worry, I got your grandma here, my sweetie. Grandma extended her arms. Grandma's here for a hug, nothing to be scared of. Rachel was so happy. She was speechless for a while. I thought I handled it pretty well. But for some reason, she didn't talk to me for over a month. Speaking of which, I remember another story. Back in high school, I got picked by the teacher to run in the school's 1,000-meter race. To place well, I stayed back to practice on the track every day after school. One day, Rachel said she'd join me. I was a head taller than her, and she had to jog just to keep up when walking. No way could she keep pace running. I didn't believe her. She insisted, told me to wait for her at the gym that evening. Well, what do you know? She showed up in a white dress, little dress shoes, and her hair all curled. I was like, come on, how are you gonna outrun me with that getup? Sure enough, less than a minute in, she was out of sight. Impressive, man, left her 3 laps behind. Tom was totally wasted, slouching in his chair. She told us your brain's like a block of wood. I sighed. I get it now, I was wrong. What was wrong? She's a girl in a dress, wind resistance is killer. I got those Asics runners on. Not quite fair, I should have eased up a bit. Tom almost choked on his drink, pointed at me with a shaking finger. Rachel was spot on, you're just thick as a brick. I said, all right, it's about time. Let's head home. We helped each other into cabs. I saw everyone off. Told the last guy, I'll pack a couple of dishes for breakfast, you go ahead. Then went back to the room. The second the door closed, emptiness and pain crushed me. I couldn't keep it together. Felt like my heart was gonna explode. How could this mean nothing? 3 whole years of my life. Lucy, when did I ever let you down? Those sweet words, the promises you made, were any of them real? Today you seem so proud. A teasing voice chimed. Turns out it's all fake. Huh? Still hurts, doesn't it? I looked up and saw a girl with long hair, belly laughing at me. She was in a cream sweater, pale skin, leaning close enough for me to catch her subtle scent. Her makeup was simple, her features familiar. Rachel, nice you remember me. She laughed. Guess you still have a conscience. What are you doing here? Tom told me you're sulking in a hotel. Just here to watch the show. I'm not crying. Then what's this? She wiped my eyes, showing me a tear on her fingertip. My face burned with embarrassment. You turned red. She laughed hard. A grown man still blushing, you're adorable. She reached out to help me stand. But I was too drunk. My legs gave out, and she fell right into my lap. Not trying to pull a move, my legs just weren't cooperating. Our faces were less than an inch apart. I could smell her sweet lipstick. The air was thick. Rachel watched me, her big eyes blinking. You're turning red too. I said, don't look. She covered my eyes. Suddenly, my phone rang. She pulled it from my pocket. Your wife's calling. What wife? She's my ex. Your ex-wife's calling. Wanna pick up? Hang up. No way, I want to hear what she says. She answered, holding the phone to my ear, her other ear leaning in. Lucy's cries shot through the line, sharp as a whistle. What's wrong with you? Babe, I'm sorry, I was wrong. She sobbed. Please, forgive me this once, just this one time. I've seen the error of my ways. I know now how important you are. You're a good man, worthy of love. Rachel watched me, amusement all over her face. What are you gonna do? I hung up just like that. Lucy called again, I blocked her. Then came a long message, dragged on forever. I'm sorry. Forgive me over and over. At the end, a video of her at our place. Lucy in an apron, table full of food. Her dad grinning into the camera, Jason, it's late. Why aren't you home? I rolled my eyes, speechless. What a feast. Rachel peered over, her hair tickling my face. I want some too. I said, all right, I'll take you right now. Dare you to come with me? How'll you explain our relationship? She teased, eyes sparkling like a sly fox. We chatted as we walked. Talked about the past, classmates, everything since we drifted apart. Did you hear about the school shop couple's divorce? The chubby guy by the sausage maker, glaring if you squirted too much sauce. Apparently, he cheated with a cafeteria lady. Got caught. Scandalous, right? Remember Joshua, skipping class for CS? Now a writer, hated by tons of readers. And David, once over 200 pounds. Now a fitness trainer with biceps bigger than my head. The night breeze chilly. Rachel scooted closer for warmth. Cold? I took off my jacket and wrapped it around her. You finally get it, don't you? She giggled, you really ticked me off bringing my grandma over back then. I rubbed my nose, awkward and clueless. We walked to the snack street near the high school. The study hall time, so the street's pretty empty. But some vendors are starting to heat up their grills, and delicious smells are floating in the air. Want a bite? Rachel shook her head, pulling me along. Remember that old arcade? Is it still around? I remembered too and said, back then, I'd head straight there after school. She sighed softly. Did you really think I joined you because I loved playing games? After dropping Rachel off at home, I got back to my place close to midnight. To my surprise, Lucy and her family were still there. As soon as Lucy saw me walk in, she quickly got up and eagerly took my bag. You've had a long day. The food's cold. Let me heat it for you. I sneered. Are you out of your mind? Playing the housewife? What the hell are you doing in my house? Lucy looked at her dad, who chimed in with a smile, Jason, give Lucy another chance. We all make mistakes, and she swears it won't happen again. Lucy nodded furiously. Then she handed me a letter. What's this? It's my written apology. I crumpled it without looking. Just get out. Lucy burst into tears. I really love you. Can you forgive me this time? I can't live without you. I tried pulling my arm free, but she held on tight. With my temples pounding, I felt like I was on the edge of a breakdown. Well, this is lively. What's going on here? Rachel had come back, now standing in the living room. What are you doing back? I asked. She raised her hand, holding my jacket. Your jacket. Forgot to give it to you earlier. Lucy glared, demanding, and who is she? I replied, what's it to you? Rachel, enjoying the spectacle, clung to my arm, playfully said, yeah, Jason, who's she? You let go. Lucy angrily pushed at Rachel. Rachel feigned vulnerability, wrapping her arms around my waist, chin resting on my back. Jason, she's so mean. I almost burst out laughing. Jason, who is she? Lucy demanded, glaring daggers at me. I said, what's it to you? Rachel mimicked me, yeah, what's it to you? Get out. Yeah, you should leave. Lucy huffed, all right, Jason. Since when? I didn't bother explaining, just snorted. Rachel didn't mimic me this time. She put her hands on her hips and said, so, you can see your first love, but I can't see mine? I was stunned for a moment, turning to Rachel. She wasn't looking at me, but her ears were flaming red. Who does she think she is? Lucy was ready to throw hands. Rachel, easily, wrapped her arms around my waist again. Quick, protect me. I pulled Lucy's hand, dragging her toward the door. Have you not caused enough trouble? Get out, don't you understand? Tears welled in her eyes. Lucy laughed bitterly. If I leave today, I'm never coming back. Think it over. I said, fine by me. You. I slammed the door shut. She's pretty good at this, Rachel commented, already sitting at the table, pouring herself some soup. Want some? No thanks, I waved her off. I've had my fill of tea earlier. When did you have tea? I mimicked Rachel in a high-pitched voice. Oh please, isn't all of this drama enough tea for one night? Rachel feigned anger. I just did you a favor getting back at her. And you're already backstabbing me. I raised my soup, alright, cheers to you. Cheers. Halfway through eating, Rachel put down her chopsticks. Tell me about your ex-girlfriend. About what? How'd you meet, get together, that stuff? Why do you even want to know? I just do. So I started recounting everything, but not even 10 minutes in. Rachel stood up. Enough. You're such a bother. While I was still processing, Rachel had grabbed her bag and stormed to the door. I hurried after her. Let me walk you home. No need. Just go back inside. Why are you mad? I'm not mad. Why would I be mad? What do I have to be mad about, huh? So you're really not mad? No. Now go back inside? Go back. I checked my pockets. I rushed out and forgot my key. Serves you right, Rachel said. Thinking you can crash at my place? You wish. The next morning, I got woken up by someone fussing around getting ready. Rachel was up early, putting on lipstick. Morning. I yawned. It's not early. Get up. Rachel focused on her reflection. It's only 8. Isn't that early? That place is popular. We have to go line up early. What place? You forgot? You promised me dinner yesterday. Fuzzy memories of last night came back to me. It seemed like I did agree, amidst half-asleep nods. Luckily, it was just a dinner promise. No crazy contract or anything. Then I remembered. After buying a house and paying the bride price, my account was almost drained. This month's mortgage was looming with only a couple hundred left. What I'd hoped to save from the wedding fizzled out since I refunded all the gifts when it was called off. Frantically checking my balance, it totaled $18. Cold sweat broke out. Just then, my phone rang. Lucy's mom was calling. Jason, where are you? Something happened to Lucy. She wants to see you one last time. I was startled. What are you talking about? Lucy attempted suicide. She cried, get over here, please. She only wants to see you. Then she sent a video. A montage of me and Lucy. All our past moments. The cringe-worthy background music made it even worse. Video ended. A heavy quiet settled. Rachel continued applying makeup, overhearing thanks to speakerphone. Something happened to Lucy, I mentioned. They're insisting I visit her. Should I go? Rachel's hand paused a bit, but she replied, still back-turned, whatever. I'm not your keeper, ask someone who is. Sighing, I grabbed my jacket, you go ahead to the restaurant. I'll catch up with you. When I finally got to the restaurant, it was nearly noon. Rachel was sitting in the corner, poking her noodles with chopsticks, as if she were jabbing a voodoo doll. I went over and grinned awkwardly. Been waiting long? She saw it was me and turned away, ignoring me. Mad at me? What are you doing here? I came to have dinner with my girlfriend. Who? Who's your girlfriend? I handed her my phone. What's this? Take a look and you'll see. I added 2 dishes. I thought you might suspect I still had feelings for her if I went to her place, so I recorded the whole thing. In the video, Lucy's face was ghostly pale, sitting on the windowsill. Don't come any closer, or I'll jump. She looked at me, sobbing uncontrollably. Is it only if I die that you'd be happy? I said, stop pretending. You live on the 2nd floor. At most, you'll break a leg if you jump, not die. I continued, besides, why would I care if you live or die? Remember to call me when it's a funeral. I'll send extra wreaths. Lucy got off the windowsill, taking my hand softly. I know you're still angry. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come. You still love me, right? Under the red glow, it was extremely suggestive. I skimmed through the video. Look at this, the money I've spent on you over the years. Now I can't even afford to treat my girlfriend to dinner. And those gifts and cash for marriage arrangements, send them back early, or I'll sue you. I want a refund. Rachel burst out laughing. You're so bad. Not mad anymore? I asked. Hearing this, she straightened her face. Humph. I'm too lazy to be mad. Then she added, if you'd been a minute later, it'd be over between us. But as soon as I'm about to get the money, I came right over. I smiled. We've got a long journey ahead. How could it possibly be over? Smooth talker. After dinner, we went out shopping. I'd been to this place before with Lucy. Wow, there's a temple over there. Rachel held my hand and said, let's go get a fortune stick. It was the same temple, bustling with tourists. I stood again under a tree full of wish tags. Rachel closed her eyes and shook the sticks, her expression devout. I leaned in and whispered, what did you wish for? I gave my wish to you, she said. I hope whatever you wish for comes true. My heart turned to mush. I walked to the spot where I'd hung a tag before, intending to take it down but found it gone. Something in me stirred, and I looked up at the solemn Buddha, looking down empathetically. Since the gods have given me a second chance, I can't waste it. I will still believe in love. I still have the courage to start over. I hope it's not too late for all this. I held Rachel's hand and wrote, I will love her wholeheartedly. Let all deities be my witness.